Well, good afternoon, friends. Bill here. How you doing? It's good to be home. We had just had a wonderful time in Salt Lake City for the NBA All-Star Weekend, and I've only been to Salt Lake one time before for the Winter Olympics. I think it was 20 years ago, and it looks similar. I didn't remember everything, of course. It's been a long time, but Salt Lake City was a wonderful place. It's a smaller downtown area, and what that means is you could wasn't eliminates potential complexity in reaching the fans with the gospel. So the way it was laid out was that you had the Vivint VIVINT arena like here, and then just basically on the top end of that, I think it was somehow connected. A couple blocks up was the Salt Palace Convention Center, and so they're only 2 or 3 blocks away from one another, and so that created a lot of good foot traffic. And the way at least these kind of events work is you had the Fan Fest, the convention center, like 11 to 8, 8 noon to 8 every day, and then on Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the Vivint Arena, you had a variety of basketball games being played, typically in the afternoon or evening. And so, what that means is you have this constant opportunity for people to come watch a game or go to the convention center. And so basically Friday and Saturday and most of the day on Sunday, it was a good steady stream of people. So, that's what we look for and that's what we got. So that was really good. The second thing in Salt Lake is that we had liberty to preach. We'd gotten a letter from the attorney, and he had said they do have a somewhat of a pretty potentially strict amplification ordinance, but they did not apply it. We didn't go in with bullhorns blazing, but nevertheless we had them on, and they were heard, and they didn't stop us. In fact, on Sunday, we were as we were getting closer to the main game, which started at 6:30 Mountain Time, and so we were down there, and the police they were down there. We talked. We talked. One guy looked like he was probably in charge. Chit chatted. So they're really friendly people. I did ask him. I thought, it looks like you guys. I probably did not ask the question very well. I said, looks like that you, police in general, have been able to keep the peace more at these kind of events lately. And it looks that way. Even in Phoenix, things are pretty well controlled. Um, I think they have a strategy of just letting things kind of happen a little bit. There's actually a protest by some people on Sunday afternoon, basically at the Vivint Arena across the street. So you had the arena, and then you had the light rail running beside it. On the other side of that was where this protest, I guess it went on a couple hours, a local protest, and they just kind of let it go. They just, they didn't let it get out of hand, but they didn't run in with, and try to bust it up. They just let people say what they got to say. I guess that's where it's gotten to in the United States. People, they let the authorities let people do what they're going to do, I guess, until in certain places they start breaking stuff. So that was good. So a lot of people. I think there's a video outside the arena that ran on the loop, and where the mayor was saying, welcoming everybody, and the mayor said they expected 100,000 people to come into the city for the event. So that's what I anticipated was there. We were able to encounter, and actually there were 7 of us there, and so I'm just going to get that picture up on this. Pull it up here if I can. Hang on 1 second. Hang on 1 second here. So I guess that's what we were able to encounter. All 7 of us were able to be there, and it was good. Had a great fellowship. We actually changed houses, Airbnb house at the about really 2 or 3 weeks out, maybe a month out, and there it is. So we were only 2 miles from the from all the venues, so that was good. So the first couple of days we actually we rode the bus into the city and rode the bus and then the train into the city. So you ride the bus. It took 10 minutes. It was so close. Uh, we rode the bus in, got off, got on the light rail, and the light rail trip was pretty close. Just, look, 2 minutes. It was a great setup. So here's the team. Yeah, hang on one second. So yeah, it was good. Got there easy Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday buses not run. I guess I talk about things that always interest me about how people work. We're in the obviously we have a mission we want to accomplish, but that since we're in the people business, and people how they govern cities and do things is always interesting to me. So Salt Lake City, to their credit, to help the leagues help this event, they certainly all public transportation was free, but on Sunday the buses didn't run, so we had to get to town anyway. All worked out, so I had a great time. Great time. I don't know if you guys are on my. Anyway, I'm gonna post somewhere somehow some of the pictures. I haven't really got it all assembled yet. Anyway, great team. If you can see the picture, let's see. Our names are at the bottom. Of course, I'm on the far left. That's what it looks to you. And then Sterling from basically Dawsonville, Georgia. Ricardo in the middle. Ricardo was brand new from Utah. He lived in Texas. He was in the Army. He's retired, living about 45 miles north or away from Salt Lake City. He came, he rolled the dice, and came and hung out with us, and he had a great time. The next to him is Larry Helmuth from Fort Collins, Colorado. Larry, since he came to the Super Bowl last year in 2022, has been probably 4 or 5 events. He's gone to Super Bowl, NFL draft. He did the Birmingham Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, England this summer. Came to the Super Bowl. He's very faithful there. He and Pat Haggerty were preaching at the Colorado State game, so it's great to be with Larry. Next 2 guys, Landon and Jason, are ministry partners down in Dallas, Texas. We've communicated before. I've communicated with Landon directly and had not met him, so those guys came up. I think they wanted to reach out to the Mormons, and they were great to be with. And then Joe Henson on the far end. Joe does a great job. He's part of the Whitfield program and faithful full-time evangelist in the Denton area. So we had a great team, 7 of us there, and we're able to cover the ground really well. And then, of course, if you've been on a sports fan event, if you hadn't, you know that there's a lot of talking along the way, a lot of discussion of theology, and all that kind of stuff goes on. That's what makes them fun, including sharing meals together when we got back and wake up in the morning. So everybody had a wonderful time staying there together. So we had a great time, praise the Lord. In addition to the gospel preaching and the interactions and the stories, honestly, obviously, I don't really keep track of that. It's so much. My interest is on the team, but hopefully we can assemble some of the good stories that everybody had during that time. The last part about the trip for the long term is that Joe Henson's going or willing to move to Provo, Utah, which is about an hour away in June. And so we were basically in his new home, his new ministry home in Salt Lake City. Sterling and I spent the night in Provo at the First Baptist Provo. If you guys know Ed Romine, Ed's a faithful friend. And so Ed wasn't there. But in other words, Joe's got a home there. There's places at that church to stay. And so hopefully, Lord willing, you guys will be visiting Joe Henson starting in June to preach the gospel to him there in Provo and Salt Lake City. He said Provo is about 90% Mormon. It's a conservative place. Salt Lake City is about 50%. Either way, man, they need the gospel and lots of opportunities. So get ready when Joe gets down there and gets settled in to start hearing the call to go and join those guys. Coming up next weekend, St. Pete Grand Prix. Did I lose it? Yes, next weekend, starting Thursday evening. Just get there by Thursday evening. Lord willing, will be in preaching at the St. Petersburg Grand Prix. I think a couple 100,000 people rolling there over a 3-day period. Send a message while I'm sitting here in a second. It's good. We've been there. I guess this will be my fourth time. I went once with Mark Renan, just the two of us, just real informal. And I think the next week we started planning these things out. So this is our third or fourth time we've planned it out, stayed at the Tampa Bay Conference Center. So it should be a good time. Could be the fourth time. A lot of people. It's not a normal crowd, the Grand Prix crowd. I mean, I'm sure they do other sporting stuff, but St. Pete is not a destination that's on the Super Bowl Final Four list. I mean, they were, obviously it's part of Tampa, Florida, but Tampa, Florida got the bulk of the Tampa Super Bowl. So coming into a new city, it's a good city for ministry. They've got 3 good entrances into the track. You've got the St. Pete Pier. Downtown St. Petersburg is built for foot traffic. That's what the city planners have done. And so it's a great time. If you want to come, man, it's still time. Let me know. Send me a message here. Text me 423-724-7500, 423-724-7500, and let me get you plugged in. This year we are staying at the Tampa Bay Baptist Conference Center, but using the hotels to start with. So I think there's 9 of us right now scheduled to be there. And so I think there's a place for one more person to come. Look, if 10 of you called me today, we'd work it out. We could stay in the bunk beds there at the Tampa Bay Baptist Conference Center. And I would love that. And Bill Stump there would love that. So I'm not saying there's only one more person that can join us. I'm saying I think there's one more bed at the hotel. There's plenty of room there at the conference center, including if you want to come down and camp. So great 3 days. It's inexpensive. It's $105 for the hotel for 3 nights. And then, you could camp there for $4 a night. So all that stuff's inexpensive. Let me know if you can make it. Great 3 days of preaching as well. Then the Final Four, March 31st to April 3rd. March 31st to April 3rd. Houston, Texas. Well, there's always something in there. That's why. All right. Let's see what we got here. There's always something, man. Always something. Oh, can't get it up. Anyway, see if I can give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get this thing on there. No, it's there. Final Four in I don't know. Anyway, Final Four is March 31st, April 30th in Houston, Texas. Now listen, the Final Four in Houston, Texas is a good event. You've got the George R. Brown Convention Center, and they have the Fan Fest in the Convention Center, and then they have in the park right in front of the convention center is Discovery Green. They'll have concerts every day in Discovery Green. Fans will be everywhere. It's last time we were there, man, it was really busy for 4 days. It was really a busy place. NRG Stadium, the games are down there Saturday and Monday. That's a pretty good stadium. It's not great, but it's the Discovery Park and the George R. Brown Convention Center, coupled with a stadium. Houston's a good event. 4 good days of preaching, should be warm weather. So come on and join me there. And the last thing is the draft, April 27, 29 in Kansas City. I've never been to Kansas City to evangelize. I've been one time in my life and really don't remember how it's laid out exactly. So this should be new territory. And so, but the draft is big. They want a lot of foot traffic. They've had it in Vegas. They've had it in Nashville. It's going to be a big event. So I'm highly encourage you, if you're in that area, in that Midwest area, just want to come preach to football fans, to contact me or click on the link on this and come join us. Yes, come join us. Well, I could go on forever. I'm going to throw up these real quick. Grand Prix Miami, Florida, May 5 to 7. It's going to be held at the stadium down there, and where the Dolphins play, where we go down for the Super Bowl, and it should be good. And plus Fort Lauderdale Beach, it's just 5 or 10 minutes down the road. There's a ton of people there out there on this big plaza. That should be good. And then the Derby, same weekend. Bobby McCrary's leading the Derby outreach. It should be another good time. So, man, just got a lot of good opportunities coming up. Check out the links on this webpage. And we're going to also have, I just talked to Jason McGow. We're also going to have some updated Gospel Invasion efforts. So the Gospel Invasion is an event that is at a non-sporting event. It's led by someone other than me. And so Jason McGow is leading the Myrtle Beach Gospel Invasion during Bike Week, June 1 to 4 in Myrtle Beach. So get ready. We've also got Bonnaroo coming up in June. Terica Hughes leading that. Brad Madewell is leading the Riverbend Festival. And then in the fall, Joshua Richards is going back to the Pumpkin Festival as well. So there's a lot going on this summer. The Music City Grand Prix, Ben Grady's leading that. That's going to be August 4 to 6. I believe that's the right date. So a lot of stuff coming on. Get out your calendar and come on out and join us. So many opportunity for people to do the gospel. Last thing, look for another fundraising training. I'm going to try to do these as consistently as possible, but they'll pop up spontaneously, and hopefully I can be succinct and get the point across. What I want to encourage you here to do, and really on the fundraising, and I'm going to say this and we will probably bring this to a close today, is try and encourage you to take initiative. And the same with preaching. So for me, at least, if someone says, I want to open air preach, but I'm uncomfortable. I'm leery, I'm afraid, whatever the situation may be. So what I try to do, and I'm not sure it's helpful, but I'm just telling you, this is what I try to do, is to get the wall down of resistance. And so I say, listen, 2 things is what I typically say. 1, the thing you're afraid of the most is really hearing your voice out loud. And that's true. Public speaking is the number 1 fear people have apart from death and the life. You see that all the time. And so I just say, listen, and that's all there is to it. I mean, just do that. So to get out there and get going, so you'll take the initiative, read the Bible out loud. So find your favorite chapter, get up here, we'll put you in the spot, get the amp on, and just start reading the Bible. And those 2 things, understanding what you're afraid of, and then having a solution that's simple. Read the Bible out loud, read the first chapter of John chapter 1, 2, and 3, just get rolling. That's all that's required. So that's what I try to say to help you take initiative, because if you'll take that first step and you read the Bible out loud, then everything else begins to flow. You get over the real hump, which is the fear, and you get used to reading the Bible, hearing your voice, and it all works together. You go, hey, that wasn't that bad. And you also experience the freedom that comes with preaching the first time. So that's what I say, to be honest. With fundraising, I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to say, hey, here's what you're afraid of, and here's the solution, so you'll begin to ask people. Because in both cases, once you start preaching and once you start asking, you're going to adapt it to your personal style. We all do it. But the fundamentals remain the same. So if you see what the fundamentals are and you realize you can massage it a little bit, then you'll do it. And it becomes your preaching style, the way you invite people to partner with you financially. So again, my goal is to get you to take the initiative and start asking, start preaching. And then we as a ministry, we're there with you when you start preaching and preaching more. We're there with you as a ministry when you start asking and asking more as well. So the fundraising training is designed for that, to get you comfortable with asking. So you'll just start doing it and do it and do it and do it and do it and just keep asking and see how the Lord works and see how people give. So that's what those are about. Look for some impromptu messages. Hey, man, thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys are doing well. And let's see what I can show before we leave. Baseball All-Star Game, July 8th to 11th, Seattle, Washington.